Misanga Nyamdi says his sacked letter from the ruling party is not from the national president, but again from some big guns to keep him away. His love for President Paul Biya, he says, will never drop, no matter the squabbles. He was talking to our reporter Hysen Chia after the circulation of his dismissal letter. Details in the following story.
According to Pascal Mesanga Nyamding, the decision to summon him before the ad hoc and disciplinary committee that has resulted to firing him from the Cameroon's People Democratic Movement remains illegal.
D'abord, j'ai été surpris pour deux raisons.
I was very surprised for two reasons. The commission is illegal. To all the militants listening to me, they should go and read Article 44, Article 25, Section 1. The General Secretariat is under the authority of the National President. It is a shame that I accept this.
C'est une honte que j'accepte.
Having served as a militant of the CPDM for 37 years, the staunch Biya supporter says the sack letter on April 19 did not come from his political father.
C'est un faux document.
It is a fake document. Look at the stamp critically. Experts have called me from France and elsewhere, indicating that the signature is placed on the stamp, whereas it is always the reverse when Paul Biya signs. And I have sources by the president that have told me that he has not signed such. So it is fake. Biya has never signed that. Reason why I am smiling. What next after the exclusion from the ruling party? Mesanga Nyamding says it is time for serious reflection. Despite the hard decision, the renowned university lecturer reiterates that the CPDM national chairman, Paul Biya, will always have a soft spot in his heart.
And few days after 5 persons were presented in connection with the kidnap of Dr. Olivia Disongo, the governor of the Littoral region, today granted a press conference where he talked about ongoing investigations, the bid to unveil the circumstances behind the doctor's kidnapping. Let's take a listen.
It was very, very hard for our policemen to work with some conscience that only them have the secrets. They've worked very well, and they bring back this lady. And I want to say that it's not a kind of arrangement, as people are saying, because if she was willing to have this arrangement, how can they go and go with sexual intercourse with her?
And the mayor of city clean and healthy, and so warning the population of the sanctions awaiting those littering and dispatching dirt carelessly around town. Luke Mesiatanga was speaking during an exchange with heads of traditional rulers and associations. More in the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
The AFCON competition and attention to keep Yaoundé clean and healthy over. The capital city is back to its old stage. Streets, roads littered with dirt. Heaps of lungs very visible here and there. Unhealthy attitude that has forced the city mayor to push his strategy to a different level. Involving the Association of Traditional Rulers of the Mfundi Division, Luke Mesiatanga says will be an added force to meet the deficit in the collection of household garbage. The meeting at the City Council Hall is to engage them in the sensitization process on certain orientations not different from their missions, lauding them to talk, by example, on good waste management. The place for these 7 new tricycles offered 7 associations of traditional chiefs for the collection and transportation of trash to where the garbage disposal company can easily cut away. The city mayor reiterates the objective is to make the population know salubrity is a permanent preoccupation and activity, and so doing instills community spirit and culture within them. In attendance were also the administrative authorities of the Mfundi Division and the forces of law and order. Since resistance is a natural and common habit, the city mayor in this radical phase warns that penalties await defaulters in line with their offences to hygiene and salubrity.
The fifth session of the National Committee for the Fight Against Child Labour held this April 21 implementation of the National Strategic Plan of Action for the Elimination and discuss new methods to help fight against persistent increase in child labour in Cameroon. More with our reporter, Udmu Usumi. We are sorry we can't have that story. We move to something else. The European Union is fostering strategies to fight against gender-based violence, the prevention of conflicts and inclusion of youth in peace building. This by sponsoring and financing 4 main projects sponsored by some Cameroonian non-governmental organizations. More in the following story.
Defending the cries and pride of women and young girls in the country, vulnerable victims of gender-based violence, the concern of these 4 non-governmental organizations singled out by the European Union here in Cameroon. 1 billion francs CFA, the amount the European Union is offering to finance this project, launched early 2021.
The 4 projects which have been selected have been the result of a launch for proposals around 2 themes which had been identified after consultation with civil society organizations last year.
The crisis in some regions of the country, health situations and the challenging economic situations today for the propagation of this violence.
As we all know, the crisis affected the community and most people are on the streets, especially the young girls who are victims of gender-based violence. A lot of rape cases registered.
Ambassadors
bring youth together to prevent radicalization and re-radicalization, promotion of inclusively led and locally led conflict prevention efforts.
The main objective of this European Union finance is to help associations and NGOs engaged in this fight, mobilize youth in favor of peace, promote social cohesion, the protection of human rights, and help protect the vulnerable in Cameroon. Parts of efforts to boost Cameroon-European Union partnership.
And heads of departments at the Cliquez deep sea port have been trained on how to fight against corruption within the port authority. The training is coming at a time when people doing business at the port continue to complain of bottlenecks and corruption, which slows operation and economic growth. More in the following report with Regina Leketandak.
Be it at the port terminal, cargo storage, transshipment of cargo, or the removal of containers from the port, operations at the deep sea port in Cliquez, like other ports, are mired in corruption. To address this issue, the Cliquez deep sea port has brought heads of departments to empower them fight corruption. The workshop is organized in partnership with the International Standard Organization ISO, which says the move is intended to put in place a corruption-free system, avoid future losses.
It's to prevent. Most of the people are trying to act after, but if we can, for the next generation, act now, so we will have a better place, we will have a better country, we'll have better systems that will, with time, get better for so many years. And I'm from Quebec, and I know we had corruption for many years, and now we're improving, but because we started to work 10 years ago.
For the director of the port, good governance and a corruption-free port will help boost the image of the facility.
This is the time to implement good behaviors. That is why we organize this workshop on the fight of corruption. And the consultant just explained to us that this is a very important activity that could enhance the option and the image of the port.
What would make the port a leader?
Where we put systems in place where they cannot do corruption. So I think it would be better for the next generation.
The training comes at a time when people doing business at the port have continued to lament on bottlenecks and corruption. which keeps slowing operations and economic growth.
As part of activities to mark World Press Freedom Day, the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Kamasesh Douala, had a rich exchange today with the Lone Electricity Management Company in Cameroon. For over 4 hours, the presentation centered on the management and distribution of electricity in Cameroon. Following statistics, the situation in the northwest and southwest regions is quite disturbing, with the Lone Electricity Company unable to recover 15% of its bills out of Bamenda in the following, except the communication director of the Lone Electricity Company, Gilbert Chungang, tells us more.
We are in our own way contributing to providing you with the right information on what goes on in the sector. And if you remember, there was a press conference organized by the minister himself, and at the end of with the press to give them, more and further information when it comes to the activities, and that's what we at NAO are doing right now. We have many people out there who are consuming electricity and who are not customers. So, and you understand why NAO is out there, this campaign to fight against fraud, campaigning to get